What's up, y'all? It's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous, and I'm back with another installment of Dangerous Minds. I appreciate everybody that's been giving me the feedback necessary to create these last videos to end off season 2 of the Dangerous Minds. If you're not a part of the Facebook discussion group, please hit that link in the description below. Also follow the IG page and the Facebook fan page for Dangerous Minds. I will be posting these questions to help get the feedback, to get these last videos, these last lists together for my top 10s, top 5s, or whatever, so we can put 2017 behind us in the new year the right way. So without further ado, I will present list number 2 of the last 4 of season 2. And this episode, I did countless research. I listened to your feedback in the discussion group and made sure that I didn't leave anything out as I put together my 5 corniest moments of 2017. So it's been a lot of BS that's happened this year. This is the first official year of Trump being president since the inauguration, and I honestly could have put a 5-10 list together of nothing but Donald Trump moments, and they would be listed as the corniest, the dumbest, the wackest moments of this year. But I decided to kind of leave him out. I might even do, because I still got one more list that I need to come up with, and if you want to put your input on that one, please do so in the discussion group, and I could possibly put that list together for you next week. But to keep him aside, even without Trump, there's been a lot of crazy, dumb, and corny moments that I would just like to cover. Some dishonorable mentions. It was really hard to narrow it down to 7. Like the last video, I'm going to be looking at the screen for periodically, just so I can make sure I don't forget the points that I'm trying to hit. So the first dishonorable mention is Soulja Boy versus Chris Brown. So for those who have kind of forgot, Soulja Boy was wilding towards the end of 2016, going off on a whole lot of shit, you know, really pushing his gang affiliation, his drug habit and his gang affiliation to the forefront in, you know, the major corniest ways possible. And he caught the attention of Chris Brown over, I'm assuming from Soulja Boy's responses, was over him liking some pictures of Cryrese before Quavo ended up with her. You know, he was still wilding over anybody that was giving her some more attention, you know, because he felt like he still had control over her or whatever. But anyway, so these two jaw-jacking, you know, back and forth, even got to the point where Soulja Boy was skipping in somebody's hood and then got confronted while he was trying to prove how hood he was and all that shit. And it was hilarious. It was real grade A coon hilarious shit. And it got to the point where these two were fooling everybody, thinking that they were going to have a fist fight. They were going to have this big ass confrontation. They were going to be selling tickets and all that. Kind of like a forefather of Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. That actually did happen. But this fight never happened, never materialized. Both dudes doing all this jaw jacking, putting up training videos, hilarious videos from Soulja Boy, who proved that if you were gonna put your money on anybody, it probably would have been Chris Brown, but it would have been an ugly, sloppy mess regardless. But these two just blew it out the water. I put it at 7 just because dishonorable mention number 1, just because it was, you know, it was kind of here and gone. Once you realize these two wasn't really going to fight, it just kind of became distant memory. I completely forgot about it until I started doing Google searches. My second dishonorable mention is the NFL protest confusion. Now, when I say confusion, I'm talking about the specific moment when guys like Ray Lewis were coming out so against Colin Kaepernick from the very beginning. Going into 2017, when other peoples were following his footsteps after he went undrafted all year, no team picked him up, and a lot of people were outraged. They said it was for other reasons, but you know, anybody with two eyes and a working pair of ears understand what's really going on, and the fact that he was not drafted, he was blackballed from the NFL because of him standing up, well, actually taking a knee during the national anthems as protest to police brutality. And it wasn't until, because there was other NFL players that got on the bandwagon that really, you know, not get on the bandwagon, but carried the flag for Colin Kaepernick in his absence during those games. And there was even from fans like myself, I have not watched a single game, excuse me, of the NFL this year because of the protests and because of him being blackballed. But there were a lot of older players, like I talked about Jim Brown and Ray Lewis, that were completely against Colin Kaepernick. But it wasn't until Trump spoke out against them after Vice President Pence went to a game and was so appalled that, you know, players were taking the knee during that game. So he called them out. He called the owners and the coaches cowards and all this other stuff, and called the players sons of bitches. And that's when everybody decided to get down on one knee. And even guys like Ray Lewis got down on a knee and then got on both knees, but then later clarified that he was praying, basically putting down a knee for both sides. All right. But the confusion comes into the fact that even in the midst of all that, the confusion was there because was the NFL together because of what Trump said, or were they trying to carry on the flag that Colin Kaepernick started, the charge, the lead that Colin Kaepernick started? And the answer became very clear once that died down, once Trump's comments about them died down and it became distant memory. Those other players and those teams that all came together, it started to slowly dissipate. And now we don't see as many. We see the guys that were doing it from the very beginning, but then we have a lot of guys that have since fallen off of the protest train now that Donald Trump is a distant memory to them. So I give them a dishonorable mention as well. But let's get on to the official list. Coming in at number 5, I think actually the most recent one, number 5, Post Malone's comments about hip hop. Basically, he said, if you want to feel anything, if you want to cry, if you want to go to music for understanding and lyrics, don't listen to hip hop. I took great offense to that, because not even counting older guys, because he, you know, even Peter Rosenberg called him out about it, and then they said later that they had a conversation. And for that, I give you a corny award to Peter Rosenberg, because I'm a fan. I like a lot of the things you got to say, but the fact that this guy can have one conversation with you, and just because he's not confrontational, and the fact that he tried to clarify and say that he was talking about newer hip hop, it's still a bunch of bullshit, because that's a slap in the face of the guys in your generation of hip hop coming up, like J. Cole, Joey Badass, Kendrick Lamar, Big Sean, Nipsey Hussle, even guys like Kevin Gates. Like, those guys actually do put in emotion in their music. They talk about more than just having fun and partying, like you said, is the only reason why you go to hip hop. And the irony of it is the fact that you were talking about yourself. I'm not even going to get into the comment about you being a white dude that just so happens to wear cornrows, that just so happens to have gold in his mouth, but, you know, has tattoos of guys like Bob Dylan and recently Lil Peep that passed away, that you don't pay tribute to the music, you don't listen to the music. You tweeted and you commented that you don't make hip hop, even though you do make hip hop. You eat off the culture, but then you diss the culture. But regardless about you being white, it's just the fact that you don't even perpetuate what you're talking about in your music. If you were a guy that was trying to relay music that people could identify with on an emotional level, that could, could identify with on a social level, it's not just fun, it's not just dumb out music, then you would perpetuate that in your music. But I don't hear that in your music. I don't hear that in White Iverson or Rockstar. And, you know, any other songs that you do that seem to have any other, emotions are kind of, alternative things that don't even really clarify as hip hop. So who are you, Post Malone? Why are you here? If you don't want to be a part of hip hop, then why don't you step aside and become the next Bob Dylan, AC/DC, or whoever you listen to, and leave hip hop to the people that really want to do this shit. But I really wanted to do a whole video about that, so I apologize if I went a little long. But I'm at the end of the year. I might revisit this next year, the season 3, who knows. But that's just my quick comments on that. But number 4, I'm gonna take you all the way back to, I think, about March, April, when Bow Wow was caught fronting on IG and spawned the Bow Wow challenge, the social media challenge, where they basically was clowning him on his various corny attempts to keep himself looking better than what he is. I mean, I don't know how successful Shad Moss is. I don't know what his pockets look like, what his bank account looks like. But the fact that he was on IG posting like he was on a private jet, and then somebody called him out when he was flying in coach that exact same day, and then doubled down on it, like talks about all this stuff that he got when he was, you know, behind a whole bunch of kids, like I think on a field trip, and trying to front like, oh my God, like when they find out it's me, they don't know that I'm walking in front of them. But in reality, they didn't care. Like, you don't understand that it's not 2005 anymore. People do not care about Shad Moss like they used to care about Bow Wow. And I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, like everybody else has told you this. I don't know, if it's been a few months, you might have forgot, you might be back on your pedestal now that it's all died down. But Bow Wow, you have made my list of corniest things in 2017, because that was funny, that was hilarious. But let's get on to more serious matters, because number 3, we're going to talk about the revenge porn of Blac, Chyna, and Rob Kardashian. Matter of fact, that whole situation, we're going to just throw that whole situation under the bus. From Rob Kardashian throwing up Blac Chyna's nudes and talking shit about the mother of his child, first and foremost. And I'm gonna talk about Blac Chyna too. It's just this whole situation, adding fuel to the fire. It was just, you know, her taking advantage of a depressed and emotionally distraught dude, but at the same time, him not being able to handle it, not seeing the warning signs, him not, you know, handling the situation once it came to the forefront like a man is supposed to. Everything about that situation was sloppy and ugly, and both parties, even though Rob is way more in fault just because of his, you know, emotional and outlandish response that, you know, prompted legal issues. The fact that you exposed the mother of your child's naked body all on the internet as a way to get back at her for cheating on you, for her cheating on him. Their whole situation was just crazy. And the only person I feel bad about the whole situation is their child. It was very entertaining for the month or 2 that it was going on, but overall it was just sad. It was sad, it was corny, it was just so unnecessary, and it took up way much. There was way too much in that situation. It could have been handled so much better. But that's what happens when you're dealing with a stripper and a reality TV star. Number 2, honestly, the most annoying thing in 2017 to me, the Cash Me Outside girls' 15 minutes of fame. The problem is, in most viral things, like, you know, the dude, hide your kids, hide your wives, you know, the lady, you know, I don't like the girl, the woman that was in the apartment with, you know, like, then they did the auto-tune dub over her thing. You know, her thing was on fire, she thought it was barbecuing, you know, that situation. And, you know, various different clips that go viral, you know, little Terrio, all those things, right? They have the shelf life that they have because it's like, it's a funny little gag, but then once the next fad comes along, it seems to just dissipate. It seems to die out. You know, it's like, all right, you had your 5 minutes and now it's time for the next person to go viral and get famous. Even, you know, Lil Terrio got like maybe, you know, he got a little bit more notoriety than a lot of other people, but at the end of the day, everybody recognized what this was and what this is, right? Then this girl comes around, not to mention how annoying it was that people kept doing the phrase, from grandmothers to you know, people at work to people I see out in the street, you know, even people doing remixes and including it in their songs. It was everywhere, and it was so annoying. And the fact that this girl gets a contract, a recording contract with Atlantic Records off of this, releasing 2 terrible fucking songs. People tried to even give it a pass. It is fucking terrible. People got on the bandwagon. It got so many views on YouTube. I don't understand why labels don't understand this by now. That it got so much attention on YouTube because people were obsessed with the 5 minutes of fame that the girl, she was the new viral sensation, but she was being laughed at. She was being a joke. Like, she was looked at not as somebody that you want to hear in the music industry 5-10 years from now. But people took that and they ran with it to the greatest extent, to the point where it was just so overdone. And then it gives off the false, not even the false, but it gives off the impression that people will reward you for being, you know, being so disrespectful and being rude. And, you know, that sets a very bad example for people, for kids especially. Like, she's on that clip that got circulated on the internet, that went viral. It was because this girl was on Dr. Phil because she was disrespectful. She was one of those kids you see on Maury that cusses their parents out and it's the wild and do whatever they want. And you're rewarding that by giving her a contract and making her famous. Like, we can't control what goes viral on the internet, what's getting shared, what's getting laughed at, what's becoming the new copycat phrase for about a few weeks or a month or so, right? We can't, you know, control that, but at least that is being identified for what it is. It's a joke. But then when you try to validate it by giving somebody a contract and you try to give them a career or a launching pad off of that, that's when I have a problem with it. That's why it was so annoying. That's why the constant reminder of that phrase people kept repeating just made it that much worse. But that would have got #1. But I have to give it to the subject of another episode that inspired, you know, me to do a kind of a movie review of my hatred for the movie Baby Boy because of the coonery of Tyrese. Nobody has been cornier, has been more of a joke, has played himself more than Tyrese in 2017. Cryrese has done it all, from beefing with The Rock because of his success, of maybe getting a spinoff from the Fast and Furious franchise, for the allegations of him abusing his daughter, from him crying on Facebook or Instagram or wherever he was, for him claiming that he was broke but then being flown out to Dubai, crying about not seeing his daughter but skipping out on visitations with her twice, him lying about his wife being pregnant. Like, all of that is terrible. It was hilarious. What more do you want from me? You know, that was funny as hell. But Tyrese, you need help, my man. You need help, my nigga. Like, you crying 1 minute, but then you talking about you got Cohibas. You know, those expensive ass cigars. You know, you out in Dubai, but you claiming that you need money for a lawyer to help you with your case when it comes to your daughter. You want to see your daughter so bad, but you skip out on visitation. Like, who is Tyrese? Who are you, Jody? Like, all of this. And then earlier in the year, you know, his comments, his sexist comments towards women, and then turning around and begging them to rally around you and your wife. Just the hypocrisy. Like, I really don't, like, it's just so sad to see him, you know, fall from grace like this and just to kind of lose his mind. But I have to give it to you. Out of all the things that I've talked about, nothing has been cornier in 2017 than Baby Boy himself, Cryrese. Tyrese, get it together, man. Hopefully you can do better in 2018. But that's my time. Please tune in next week while I do another end of the year list. Please give me the feedback on the Facebook discussion group or comment on my IG or the Facebook fan page. I will leave links to everything in the description below. Please support the Patreon the Patreon page and the site to help build this show. And like I said, it's been your boy Vinnie-Dangerous. Thank you for watching. See y'all next time. Peace.